Welcome to another edition of Inside Cal Poly. I'm your host, Dr. Sidney Rabeau. Every new year, millions of Americans and people throughout the world wait with anticipation to see the spectacular Tournament of Roses parade. Today we will take you behind the scenes to learn about the hard work and dedication needed to construct a rose float. Cal Poly Pomona and its sister campus, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, work together throughout the year to develop their segment of the float. The Cal Poly universities are the only educational institutions that have participated in the Tournament of Roses for 47 consecutive years. Furthermore, our Rose Float is the only all-student-made project. Traditionally innovative in animation, the Cal Poly Float is always a favorite. Our winning record includes 22 major banner awards. Since 1968, we have received 8 awards for Best Display of Animation, more than any other participant in Rose Parade history. In addition, the float has won 5 Founders Trophies awarded for most outstanding self-built entries. Students from many majors and different cultural backgrounds contribute to the 25,000 hours needed to create such an exceptional experience. In this project, they put their skills to practice by handling all the planning, engineering, designing, electronics, decorating, and even financing. To gain a better understanding of the process, our field reporter, Josie Ventura, met with the Rose Float Club president. Let's take a look.
We're here at the Rose Float Donor Appreciation Day with Ron Mallory, who is the club president. Ron, could you tell us about the work that you've put into this process?
Certainly. The second week of January, the Tournament of Roses announces the theme to the next parade. And over the course of the next 50 weeks, the Cal Poly Universities of San Luis Obispo and Pomona spent approximately 25,000 hours coming up with a design, creating all the engineering, deciding all the materials that will grow, and then eventually building and decorating the float.
About how many students participate in this process?
It varies from year to year. We have a group that is the hardcore group, which ranges from anywhere from a dozen to 2 dozen at Pomona, and it's a steady 2 dozen to 3 dozen at San Luis Obispo. Being a commuter campus in Pomona, we do get a transient group of about 3 dozen that are constantly around in different numbers.
I understand that you're going to be getting your hair shaved in a couple of minutes. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
That's just an evil rumor. I wouldn't put any credence in that. In December, we have what's known as Donor Appreciation Day, which you're here attending, and we have a raffle. The purpose of this raffle is to raise the funds that we will need. As a lot of people know, Cal Poly is only capable of growing about 70% of our materials, and the rest we have to trade for or purchase. This raffle goes a long way to carrying us through those periods that we run out of favors to trade. In order to spur my club members on, I promised that anybody selling 200 tickets could shave my head. And I counted about 140 from a couple people, so I feel pretty safe right now.
Okay. I want to see the ledger. Where's the ledger? The ledger keeps going on. Oh my God! Yeah! All right. Look at that. Finish up back here.
2 students who have been part of the Rose Float Tradition of Excellence are joining me in the studio. They are Layla Ali Musa, a senior majoring in biology. Layla has been decorations chairman for 3 floats and served as decorations advisor for this year's float. Philip Mastanek, also a senior, majoring in mechanical engineering technology, was responsible for the construction of this year's float. Welcome to both of you.
Hi.
Philip, each year we see the culmination of your work going down Colorado Boulevard. When does your work actually begin?
Well, each year, the new chairman selects a new committee, and the new construction chairman starts dismantling the previous float, tries to recycle as many materials as they can. Basically, have to start from scratch, go down to the frame. And while that's going on, we start a design contest in February, and both campuses participate in that. And then a few weeks later, we have another contest to finalize the final drawing. And then that's when construction really has to get involved with design. and figure out how we're going to divide this up between the two campuses, whether things are possible in terms of animation and what we can do with this thing, and how can we make it, real exciting. And we just have to scale drawings get drawn up in a few months, and then basically just have to start dropping in components where they'll fit. And then we start with the major structure that gets tied into the frame, and then it just all starts falling together. I'd say the beginning of the year, I'd probably say about 80% design and engineering, and really only about 20% of actual building the actual mechanisms.
Layla, could you tell us a little bit about how each float is decorated?
Well, we start with the design contest in February. And we have about 100 drawings submitted to the contest. From there, we go down to about 3 to 6 drawings. And when we're looking at those 3 to 6 drawings, we're really looking at the decoration possibilities for the float. The color-wise, the best flowers we could use, the best textures, and how to make the float look as best as possible.
Now, when you say the flowers and the best flowers and best textures, what determines that? Is there a formula, or is this creativity, or how does that work?
It's 4 people being very creative. The DECA team consists of about usually 4 people, 2 from each school. And we all sit down and we think of anything possible that we can use. We use experience from the past. We use a lot of the advisors. We use professional help sometimes. And they say, well, this works, this doesn't work. Then a lot of it is, well, I like this flower. Let's try to be creative with it and experiment with it. We experiment a lot with leaves and different seeds, and we go pick anything off any strange bush that we find, and we work with it.
Once the float is completed, the transportation chairman faces a difficult task. Let's hear what he has to share with us.
Joining us now is Tony Habib, Transportation Chair of the Rose Float Committee. Tony, could you tell us a little bit of what you do?
Well, basically, I'm in charge of checking out state vehicles from here on campus for different things, maybe to pick up donations of steel or for different conferences that we do, design conferences and meetings up north. Also, I'm in charge of moving the float down from here to Pasadena, obtaining an oversized load permit since our float is not really like a normal car. And that's basically about it. I run the move on December 23rd.
Describe to us what's going to happen on the 23rd.
23rd, basically, we'll be doing final checkups on all our vehicles, make sure they're all gassed up and batteries are fine, flashlights. We putting up Christmas lights on the float, and we put up spots in different areas, such as the palm trees and the backboard, so we can keep an eye on them. Those are the spots that might hit power lines and things like that. And at about probably 11:30, we're going to pull the float out of the lab, either out to the back on the south campus, or you may go out by the information booth on campus. And at about 12 o'clock, Cal Poly police arrive. Convoy starts, and we have a last-minute. Actually, we have a last-minute check at 11:45 with the Cal Poly Police Department. They go over radio procedures since we're going to be on a police band. They give us the regulations so we don't get their license taken away from them. And at 12:05, we hit the road, and if things go well, we should be in Pasadena by probably about 6 in the morning. It's a good 5 to 6 hours. We probably max out at 15 miles an hour if things are going real good, but sometimes you may have to go as slow as 3 or 4 miles an hour.
Philip, the 1995 float was called Bending the Rules. How was it created?
Well, each year, the designs are all different. So basically, you have to start from scratch, bare frame. We take the initial design drawing and try to drop all the components into it: engine, hydraulics, steering, brakes. And from there, we start building our major structures that have to be tied into the frame. And then we go into start creating the shell and the characters, and we plop those on the float. The whole framework of the float is pencil steel, so it's all framed out in steel. It's all welding.
How many people are usually on a construction team? And you? involved in the process that you described?
This year we had basically two main construction people, but we had to utilize two alumni. They're our advisors, and we had at least a team of maybe 20 or 30 that were actually helping build and design, and we had outside help from professors, engineers. I had to go to engineers, make sure my calculations were okay and it wouldn't kill anybody.
Layla, can you give us a little background on the theme this year, Bending the Rules? What's the source of that?
Okay, we started off with the design contest that was held February of 1994. The original design chosen was a bunch of animals. They were like woodland animals. It was a rabbit, it was a bear. But the concept was that they were holding down a basketball pole to help a little mouse put in, or to help actually this little bug to put in the basketball. That was the original concept. After a couple of months of working with it, the design team decided that to go with a different type theme, and it was basically changed to a jungle theme with jungle animals set in the jungle. It was an alligator and a mouse, and the alligator was helping the mouse put the ball into the hoop, and the pole was being held down by an elephant and a snake, and there was some tigers holding down the snake just to get this pole bent down to help the mouse put the basketball in the hoop.
Philip, the Cal Poly float is well known for its animation. What process is actually used to make the characters come to life?
Well, we're running a pretty complicated hydraulic system. We try to design the movements and all the reactions and things bending. We try to make them, look real life. We build the mechanisms to simulate this, but really it comes to life. We owe that to our electronics people. They do, they're running two computers. They're running a transducerized feedback system, so they can, toss things around and have things move at different speeds. And really, after they get all this programmed in and hit the enter button, that's when things fly and it really comes alive. The stuff I do, and the construction team does, we can build the thing and test it a couple times, but really we don't see it come alive until the end.
So the animation then is actually computerized?
It's all computerized. We've got two computers on board, and they run electronic, real expensive electronic valves that real sensitive.
We were the first parade in the float to have computer-run animation, so we are well known for the animation, and still say we were the first ones to do it.
Exactly.
That's very good. I didn't know that. It's very interesting.
We were the first float to use propane in the parade too. Now there's many other floats using propane, but we were the first ones. So we're known for quite a few firsts.
Let's take a moment to wander down memory lane and relive a few of the Rose parades from years gone by.
This is the Founders Trophy winner for the most outstanding entry in the self-built classification. Cal Poly, always a favorite. The universities at Pomona and San Luis Obispo get together around Thanksgiving and bring us two parts of one float. It's called Parade Around. They've traditionally been most technically innovative. This year, no exception. The young girl in front is pedaling her bike. The drum is beating, the triangle and the cymbals move, the dog is howling, the cats play with a bell, and the cat in back is lunging to grab the cans. You see how it all works together.
You can hear the crowd.
Animation.
Directly across from us, all the Cal Poly people usually sit at. If tradition holds up, as they go by here, the float will empty some water right on the members of Cal Poly.
Look at how that knee works. There's a primary computer inside the float, plus a backup unit that runs all the animation. 8 people inside the float, 2 drivers, 6 people to oversee the animation.
What a thrill it must be for the people of Wisconsin to see this parade for the first time. Well, the students at Cal Poly universities have certainly been known to use imagination in creating their float designs, and this entry called A Novel Adventure is no exception. Now, this young lady that you see up there is using her imagination to carry her over the city on a flying carpet, while the storybook characters she's reading about come to life.
Now, the snake you see there is made with onion seed and crushed walnut shells, orange lentil,
It's quite a snake.
I should say. The flying carpet is decorated with ginkgo leaves, red carnation petals, orange lentil, asparagus ferns. The San Luis Obispo students, you know, built the front portion of the float. This is their tradition.
Yes.
And the Pomona students, the rear portion. The middle is somehow a combined effort, and they have been jointly building this Rose Parade entry and then joining it together halfway between the two campuses since 1949.
Layla, I understand you had an opportunity to work with a professional float this year. Can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah. Since I did Cal Poly's floats decorations-wise for 3 years, I made a lot of contacts with professional float builders, got a lot of advice from them. And once we get down to Pasadena, it's like a big family down there. Everyone's really willing to help everybody else and get the floats decorated. Well, during the years, I've made contacts, and one of the companies, DC Arts, decided that they liked my work, and they asked me to join their team to do one of their floats. This year, I was in charge of the Oregon float. It's called Things Look Different Here, and we won the Mayor's Award for the Best Looking City Entry.
Very good. And this was for pay?
Yes.
Unlike the Cal Poly project, this was for pay.
I didn't care so much about the money. I just wanted the experience to be able to do it professionally. And it was a lot of fun. It's a lot different than Cal Poly, but it was still a lot of fun.
That's wonderful. And it's a testimony to the experience that you gained here at Cal Poly working on the float for many years.
Right. And they had a lot of good things to say about Cal Poly, which made me really proud, you know, to be able to say, well, that's where I came from. That's where I got my training. And they respected my work, and they respected the school a lot. So it made me feel really good.
Very good. But once the float is at Pasadena, how long does it actually take to attach the roses?
Well, we start decorating December 26th, and we decorate between the 26th and the 1st for the parade. The first couple of days of the week, we start off with all dried materials, with seeds, anything that is dry that won't die. Towards the middle of the week, we start putting on leaves, because they're more hardy than the flowers. And then we start adding like chrysanthemums, which are basically a hardy flower. The roses don't go on until the end of the week, and they're put in vials that are filled with water. So the decoration process takes all week, but the roses go on right there at the end, which people really don't know about. They think they're being put on at the very first of the week. It's like, no, they'd be pretty much dead by the parade day. So.
Now, how many people are actually on the teams putting on these flowers?
We get up during the week. We get to about 2,000 decorators out there working on the float. They're there. We work from early morning until early morning the next morning. So it's the last couple of days are 24 hours a day, and we have people there all the time down there decorating, from kids to adults to elderly people. Everybody's down there decorating, so it is a lot of fun.
And these are all volunteers?
All volunteers. A lot of them from here at the school, a lot of students, faculty, staff, and a lot of people that come in from the outside that they just want to decorate a float. People that are just fans of Cal Poly. It's like a big family down there that you see a lot of the same people year after year. It's a big family reunion is what it is.
It's really nice. Although the project is 100% student-run, there is also a great deal of support from Rose Float advisors. A few days ago, Josie had an opportunity to interview one of these dedicated people. Let's listen to what he had to say.
We're here at the Rose Float Lab with Ron Simons, who is the Director of Development for Student Affairs and the Rose Float Senior Advisor. Ron, could you tell us how the Rose Float project fits into the mission of the university?
Well, Josie, as you know, here at Cal Poly, our primary mission philosophy is learn by doing. And what a better place to learn by doing than right here at students getting involved, actually learning a profession, if you will, in all the various disciplines of the university. It encompasses everything from engineering, horticulture, business, personnel, food processing, I mean, you name it. Literally, all the many disciplines of the university are incorporated right here into this project.
What role does the community play?
Well, our community has been very, very supportive of the Cal Poly project, both here in Pomona and San Luis Obispo. As you know, our students would not be able to compete with this professionally. Some of these floats cost literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. And our community has just stepped forward just to make generous donations of time and product and money to make sure the Cal Poly float gets put on these last 47 years.
What is the average cost of the Rose float?
Well, we see Rose floats, at least the ones that I'm familiar with, have run, let's say the least expensive commercial ones are probably in the upper, say, 50, 60, 70,000. That's pretty bare bone type float. And I've known some that have exceeded $350,000 to $400,000.
How do you garner student support?
Well, it's like any other project here. We have literally hundreds of clubs on campus, and so the students every year during orientation, they set up a table and they have signs. They'll even bring sections of the float out on campus and display them and try to get the students' interest and to get them into it. Because, I mean, you got to realize the students give a lot of their time. They don't get any grades, they don't get any pay, they don't get any stipend or scholarship. So they literally have to give up their time, their weekends, everything to do it. So it's a tough job, but they keep doing it.
I understand you're going to have a lot of work between the 23rd and the 1st. Are you going to be there giving students support?
Well, I'm going to be wishing them support. I'll be coming down. I try to stay out of the way as kind of an advisor. We try to advise and not do, hopefully, like kind of a parent, should do. But yes, they moved the float here from Pomona on the night of the 23rd to Pasadena, and then they'll get into high gear with decoration. And really, the fresh material, they'll put on dry material first, and the fresh material starts at about the 27th of December.
Thank you very much for talking with us.
Well, you're welcome, Josie. My pleasure.
This question is for both of you, Philip and Layla, and it's probably to me the most important. How do you actually feel after all these hours of work and effort? How do you actually feel watching that float go down Colorado Boulevard? Layla, why don't we start with you?
Well, it's actually like the best feeling in the world. Nothing beats it when you've worked on the float for so long and you've seen it start from nothing, start from a piece of paper, and then, it's being built and the whole thing. It doesn't really come together, and then seeing it come around the corner of Orange Grove in Colorado, it's the best feeling to actually know that you did this and you're part of it.
Phil, what about you?
I didn't actually weren't on the sidelines. I was actually driving the thing.
So you saw it from the inside.
So I saw it from the inside, and that was a real experience. Especially we were turning the corner onto Colorado Boulevard, and I knew Cal Poly, our big group was up there, up to our left, but I couldn't quite tell. And we were driving along. It's real hard to hear. We got a V8 engine behind me and headphones, and then I hear this, big roar and screams, Cal Poly, and everyone's just going crazy. And I knew we were, and just it was a great experience. I mean, it was.
Now, when you're in there driving, are you in there by yourself, or was there another driver, or what?
We had, it was a driver, like co-pilot, gauge man. We had there was 8 or 9 people total. We had three guys on the computer, a couple gauge men. We have front and rear steering. So we had 2 drivers.
So it's a team of folks in there.
All team. We all have to be communicating with each other because no one can see. You got little holes cut in the float. No one can really see what's going on. So we all have to be in communication together, and so it's all big team effort.
Well, that must be really a high point must have been for both of you all to actually see that float come to life for all those thousands and thousands of spectators.
Yeah.
Has participating in the Rose Float Club been useful or enrich your educational experience here at Cal Poly Pomona? Why don't we start with you?
Yes, it has. It's really interesting that, it's like I know Dr. Suzuki and Mrs. Suzuki personally, and I've met them through Rose Float. And that's really neat to be able to say, well, I know the president of the school, and he knows who I am. I'm just not another figure to him. I'm actually a real student. I would have never met him, really, if it wasn't for Rose Float. And I know working with some of the other faculty and staff with advisors and stuff, I've met a lot of people that aren't in my major, that they're just interesting people. I'm glad that I've met them. I've made a lot of friends through Rose Float, and friends that I'll have even when I get out of school.
Okay. So what about you, Ez?
I came into the float not knowing, I didn't know anybody at the school, so I met a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of different types of people, met a whole bunch of friends. We all learned teamwork, and we had to learn how to work with each other. There's so many different personalities. We have about 20, 30 different personalities. Learn how to work as a team. I saw that in my engineering classes, I saw how that, directly related, to the float.
Yeah.
I was able to utilize all those classes, my, dynamics, strength material, fluid mechanics, thermodynamics, and you do all these calculations, and you realize, boy, it came out exactly how it came out exactly how it was supposed to, and
Good.
It felt really good.
So it really connected your classroom experience to something in the practical, real world.
Exactly.
Well, I'd like to thank both of you very much, not only for being with us here today, but all the time you've dedicated to the Rose Float project. It's something that Cal Poly Pomona is very proud of, but it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for students who are committed, such as you. We appreciate your efforts, and we wish you great success in building additional floats, if you so choose, or anything else you pursue in life.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Inside Cal Poly. See you next time with more about what's happening on our campus.
Thank you.